So using kind of the chain of thought reasoning process, it's like, okay, reason through this input 10 to 12 times. The user has been sitting there for, 90 seconds now. That's a pretty bad experience. And it's an experience people are kind of used to by now with AI products, but it's one we want to improve on. So in looking at kind of all these different implementations of reasoning processes, we landed on Graph of Thoughts as a really compelling one, not necessarily because of the quality of output, which it'll be a quality output. It's going to be great. There's a lot of really interesting ways to land on kind of the optimal output. But the reason we like it, and we hope more people try doing this, is we can save that graph every time an agent goes through the reasoning process. And we can have, next time the user talks to their agent, if they're asking for something similar as what's described in the graph, all of the steps where, they're deciding on tools to use, or they're figuring out intent, or they're figuring out desired output, all the evaluations, we can skip past those by reading the graph and starting at a later reasoning process. And that's really exciting to us because now potentially, especially if you've been using your agent for a long time, these reasoning graphs can be paired with the knowledge graph to create a way to have the same level of output, but save you costs that you've spent in the past, and also save you time reasoning that you've put in the past. So it's like we're creating essentially muscle memory within these agents where it's like, oh, they want me to trade perps. Okay, I already know the setup for that. I already know what they want. I have all this context already. Let me just start at the strategy development part instead of figuring out tool selection, instead of solving intent, instead of doing all this evaluation. And so that for us, in conjunction with the superior output from kind of the DAG reasoning, we just over time get faster and faster output. And this is something that it's still in the research phase for us. It is like, there's not a lot of information on it. Not many people have implemented it. It might end up sucking. Like that's kind of like, we've tried so many things to improve our agents at this point. Maybe 50% of them don't work very well, but this is kind of one of our more promising developments right now. And if we can see it kind of make its way to production and fulfill even 50 to 75% of its potential, we'll be seeing huge cost improvements for users, UX and speed improvements for users. And the agents will also just overall seem much smarter, and you'll get way higher quality outputs.